Alright, how's it going, guys? I had a minor mistake today, and so I lost the footage of setting up our tungsten. So we're going to go through the setup, and we only have one thing of tungstate left that we can run. But these are the three machines that you're going to need to run tungstate: scheelite, hubnerite, wolframite, your main tungsten bearing minerals. And so the first thing you're going to need is a bath. And the bath uses no power, it's time based, because you're literally just bathing something in a fluid. And in our case, it's hydrochloric acid. In the last video, we set up, well, the video before last, we set up making hydrochloric acid from rock salt and sulfuric acid and showed how to get all of those. So go back and check that episode if you need a refresher on how to get hydrochloric acid. But basically, we are piping it in through the top here. We have a tank outside, and that pipe is running under and around the back. It needs to go in the top or the side, but the side's where the items go in, so it goes in the top. And then we have a chest here, so we can put it in. Now, I will show you that hubnerite, and this goes the same for all of the rest of them. As far as I know, they, let me find, there we go. They go in sixes. Tungstate actually goes in sevens. It's the only one that goes in 7. All the rest are 6. So when we actually automate this, we will have 2 different baths. We'll have one for tungstate and one for all the rest. Or we will have a hopper set to 6 and 7 for the 2 different ones to go into a chest. But we'll get to that at that point. So make sure you put them in 6s and 7s, or they will get stuck in here. Because if you have one of a different one that it's already tried to run, it won't try to run the next one. So we're going to throw our tungstate in here, and it's going to bathe. It's slow, but compared to the next step, it's not slow. It's actually pretty fast. As you can see, this has been running the whole time, and we are full of tungstic acid. Now, I'm going to do my best to try to explain the chemistry here. So this is tungstate, which is lithium 2, tungsten trioxide, and then bonded with oxygen. So you have 4 oxygen, a tungsten, and 2 lithium. So coming out of that, you get lithium chloride, which is the lithium from the tungstate. You'll notice there's 4 of them from 7 of these. That's the 2 lithium, and the chlorine from the hydrochloric acid, HCl. And then because the chlorine is bonding with the tungsten to pull it away from the lithium is bonding with the chlorine, that pulls the oxygen and the tungsten out for our tungstic acid dust, which it is acid because it's hydrogen 2, tungsten, oxygen 4. So then that is all getting output. Now, eventually we will deal with the byproducts, your lithium, your manganese, your ferrous, and your magnesium. But right now, all we're worried about is the tungstic acid. This is going to take more processing that we can't currently do. And the reason is that we need, well, minus the lithium, we'll look at the iron. All the rest of them, other than the lithium, are the same. The lithium special, tungstate is special, just remember that. But you'll notice there is no electrolyzer for the ferrous chloride. That's because we need to smelt it down to molten, and then we can electrolyze it to get the iron and the chlorine out. And then we can take that chlorine and we can put it in a mixer with water and make hydrochloric acid with a bit of oxygen. That way we don't have to continually use salt to make our hydrogen chloride. We can actually recycle the chlorine from this process. But anyways, so these are going to sit and wait until we get a smelter, which, by the way, is why we're doing this, because we need tungsten for the smelter. So after that, we need to dry that to get the water out of it. So it goes in here. It creates distilled water. Go to the dryer. So 7 of these go in. You get 4 tungsten trioxide, which is just the tungsten and 3 oxygen. And then because the hydrogen 2 and 1 of the oxygens are taken out as water. So it's distilled water. We have it going out and up and over to the distilled water tank. This combined with the dryer here for the sluice juice is going to make so much distilled water. You will probably never need to run a regular water as long as you're processing tungsten and running that. I haven't actually been running a regular dryer for water the whole time we've been in this building because of this setup, even part of the time we were in the other one. So we're probably actually going to have to start avoiding some of our distilled water at some point. But anyways, let's move ahead here. Our next step is going to be to take this tungsten trioxide and we are going to mix it with hydrogen. So 4 of them with 6 hydrogen is going to give us tungsten dust and water. So we have this just auto outputting through this pipe. Up here, you can see we've already made tungsten dust, 17 of them to be exact. We have our hydrogen and our tungsten trioxide, and we can turn this on and let it run. And as soon as it gets up to speed here, or up to pressure, you can see it. Now, I will put a box here, which will end up being a pipe and going over to a thing on the wall, but for right now, we're just blocking it so it doesn't fall out. You can use a screwdriver to turn off the auto output, but I find it easier to just throw a block there for now, since it's only a placeholder. But you'll see it runs. This also does multi-processes at one time, so if you let your buildup of tungsten trioxide, it'll do multiple. Like that went from 17 to 21. It's because it had multiple sitting there waiting, and now it's doing the 4, so it only did 22. So you will be able to do that way faster than the dryer runs. Now, one thing we're going to be doing very soon is we're going to be upgrading this to an Invar dryer. Invar is the second stage or second tier dryer. So we go from steel to Invar, then to titanium, and then to tungsten carbide. But the good thing about it is it's a heat machine. So therefore, as you can see in yellow there, can be overclocked without additional energy loss. So this recipe will not get an overclock charge, even though it's only a 16 HU recipe when being ran in the Invar dryer. So we'll be switching over to that soon, so this can go faster. But we have some other things we need to deal with before that. And I'm not in that big a hurry. I can let this dryer just sit here and run. I'll probably end up putting a chest up here, because the only thing we're going to be getting out is that tungsten trioxide. We don't have to worry about anything else trying to go in the mixer. So I will probably put a chest up here to catch it and then run a whole bunch at one time. But we now have our 22 tungsten, so we can now use that to make our first smelter. Problem being that it takes $36.95 to melt tungsten. Our current crucible maxes out at $2,500. So we are $1,100 too low. So one of the next videos, unfortunately, I can't edit right now, and I have something special for the crucible upgrading video that needs to be edited. So it won't be the next one. Hopefully everything will get taken care of by Monday or Tuesday, and I can get this video done for you for Wednesday or Friday. But we're going to have a stream hopefully on Monday afternoon, and then I will put out a video of that stream cut down, or an explanation of what we did if I still can't edit, on Wednesday, of something we're going to be doing that really desperately needs to get done. And then we will upgrade crucibles and cook our first tungsten to make our first smelter. Now, I am a big fan of using smelters. I will have many of them around here. A lot of my early tungsten will go to smelters. Not because I don't like a crucible, not that I want to waste my heat, because a smelter is not as good as a crucible. Crucible is always your best bet, but because of its ease of automating. So I will be using it a lot, and that is what we need to unlock what I consider to be proper aluminum processing. So once we get that smelter, then we're going to get started on aluminum, and then we will do titanium. And then we will have basically all materials open to us to do whatever we need to do. If we can find them, which iridium can be a pain in the butt, we will have all the materials pretty much available. Osmium's a little catch in there, but we'll get to that when we get to that point. So we had 3 streams in between the last video and this one. One of them was setting up making this stuff, and then the other one, we had a mining and music after an update video. So there is an update for GT6. It'll be coming out. It's already out. There'll be a pack update out when you guys see this video. I'll be doing it here in a bit. But in that testing stream, we had to make a generifier to show that, to test that the texture change Greg did worked. And I tried this earlier, and I'm not sure what the issue is. Greg will have to tell me what the issue is, but we're going to try this here again. But we're going to try it a little different. So we're going to put a chest here, and we're going to put this in here. And this should, after a short period of time, check the chest. Just like every other machine. But when I put a crate there, it never did. Now, if you put a GregTech chest there, it's instant. Because Greg's stuff is linked together. Vanilla or other mods are not. For some reason, the Generifier is never checking. Oh, there we go. It actually did it. Okay. So now that we've seen it do it, I'm going to take this chest out because I waited for a really long time for it to check a crate. It never did. So we're going to try it again. So we're going to stick this in here. And I'll explain while we're doing this what we're actually doing. So the Generifier will take any kind of GregTech stone, turn it into vanilla stone. And it only takes one tick to do most processes. Because it's doing 64 at a time, it's 64 ticks, but that's, really quick. And I think it does multiple processes at once, so it just throws the whole stack at you. But you can also use it for, like, if you have a bunch of different woods and you don't, it actually did it. Okay. Never mind. I guess I was just too impatient earlier. But if you have a whole bunch of woods and you just want the generic wood, rather than having, like over here, I use this for making crates and boats. And if I try to put different logs in, it doesn't always, like if I did this and I make this chest, and if I had extra willow in here, it would pull it in. But even though I have all the dark oak, it will not put dark oak up there. So if you want to just use generic wood in there, you can actually throw all of your planks in here and they will run through, give you a generic wood, and then you won't have that problem. Some other mod things may have a reason, or if you just absolutely hate the look of kimberlite and never plan to build anything with this poop colored block, you can just turn it all into regular cobblestone and be done with it. Or if, for some reason you have a thing against blue or green or yellow or, whatever, you can just throw it in there, turn it into regular cobble. I know there's some recipes that there's very few Greg hasn't fixed, but there's some recipes that require vanilla cobblestone and will not use the Cobble Ordict. So therefore you can use these through a Generifier. It's very easy to make. It's 6 item casings and a machine haul. And it does not take any power, just like the bath. There's the recipe. So stainless steel machine haul and stainless item casings. Little 11 stainless steel, you're good to go. I actually hate making this thing because I barely ever use it. There is one thing that I have used it for in the past. I haven't needed it in almost 5 years, though. But I will show you what that is. If you're someone that likes to have a lot of juices, a lot of different kinds of fruit, and you're running them all through a juicer, like raspberry juice, you can run it through a squeezer. My brain went away for a second. I forgot the name of the squeezer. But anyways, if you're running your fruit through a squeezer to get juice, and you don't want to have a bunch of different juices to run through your fermenter, because you can run them through here and make your biomass, you can actually generify it into fruit juice in the generifier. So if I take the raspberry, we go to the generifier, and it makes us fruit juice. All of the fruit juices can be changed into that fruit juice. So if we look at the way of making that fruit juice, we come to the generifier. There's beet juice, apple juice. There's 23 different juices that can be turned into it. Also, and this is what I used it for, if you're using, say, apple juice, and you only have apples to make your apple juice, but you want to run it through a forestry fermenter, you can change it to fruit juice and run it through a fermenter from forestry. Now, I don't know why you'd want to do that currently, because you can always run it through a GregTech one, which in my opinion is better. Go GregTech or go home. Hoorah! But you don't have, because you don't have to have the mulch or the compost or, that stuff. You just need to supply it with a, I don't even know what it's called. Because you can use fruit remains, you can use flowers, some kind of natural stock, I guess is the best word I can come up with for it. And then the fruit juice. And you can use any of the juices in here. But like I said, if you're running multiple, you can run them all through a generifier. They go through really quick. It also only does 120 liters at a, it does 1 liter at a time. So you don't have to worry about having multiples of them. And it only runs at 1 tick. So you can send a butt ton of them through here all at one time and just turn them into fruit juice, where if you're running it through the fermenter, you will need 120 liters per thing of flour. If you're doing a block of it, it's 1,080. But if you had 60 apple and 60 raspberry, it ain't gonna do anything. So that's a good way of doing that if that's your thing. You can also turn, I think it's steel leaf. I do believe you can turn that into steel. Let's see if I can find it here. Steel leaf. There it is. I do believe you can generify that. Maybe it has to be the dust. I was thinking you could do... I didn't actually look this up ahead of time, so bear with me for a second. Steel leaf dust. I know you can cook it straight into steel, but I think you can generify it too. I guess not. I do know there's some steels you can generify down. Let's see if I can find it here. Let's see if I can find a steel ingot. Go to Generifier. So you can, it's night metal to steel you can do. Okay. So night metal becomes steel. if you run it through there. Meteoric steel, same thing. Magnetic, if you accidentally magnetize too much, I guess you can do that as well. So there's all kinds of different things you can use for it. You know, I usually just use it for rocks if I need it, or if I need a whole bunch of cobblestone for a project, I can just get rid of some that I don't actually use. But I have been wasting your guys' time for way too long. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you made it this far, hit the buttons, do the things, and I will see you guys next time.